You lie in bed. The room is quiet now. The world outside has folded itself into shadows, and only the soft hum of night remains, a distant car, the rustle of leaves, the breathing of the walls. But underneath the hush, there is another rhythm. It pulses gently, thump, thump in your chest. Your heart, a metronome you were born with. Time isn't far away. It's not only in the ticking of a clock above your door or the turning of calendar pages. Time is inside you, curled into every cell, echoing in your breath, in the space between your thoughts. You feel it when you wait, when you're afraid, when you're safe. It stretches and shrinks without asking. Some moments linger, soft and honey thick. Others vanish, almost before they've begun. You remember how time once passed slowly when you were a child, watching raindrops race down a window, and then how it rushed when you laughed with someone you loved. How strange that a second is always a second, but it never feels the same. Close your eyes. Listen to your own body. Not just your heartbeat, but your breath. The inhale that lifts your chest like a wave. The exhale that empties it like a shore. Each breath is a unit of your time. A soft reminder that you're here and you're moving forward. Even now, as you lie still, you may wonder, what is time, really? Is it a river you float down, or a road you walk along? Maybe it's a drumbeat from somewhere outside you. Or maybe it's something deeper, something woven into the shape of things. Imagine peeling back the layers of the world. Beneath the minutes, beneath the seconds, you'd find time everywhere, in the way your cells divide, in the way your skin ages, in the fading of light across your bedroom wall. Even the atoms that make you are dancing 2 times rhythm. Their tiny vibrations, their little spins. Each one tells a story of motion. And motion is time made visible. And yet, your experience of time is deeply personal. Think of when you've waited in silence for news. Each second has felt like a stone, but in moments of joy, time lifts. It becomes air, and you forget it's even there. Your body knows this. It slows your heart when you rest. It speeds it when you're afraid. It holds emotion in its tempo. Now think of dreams. How do they play with time? You've lived hours in them, haven't you? During what was only a few real minutes. There time bends. It forgets its rules. And maybe that shows you something important. That time isn't fixed. It's elastic, alive, and your mind is part of how it moves. Some scientists say time is a dimension, like up, down, left and right, that it's stitched into space itself. Others say it may be an illusion, a trick of the brain trying to make sense of change. But whatever it is, you feel it deeply, even now, even in stillness. Look at your hands. They are made of moments, of time folding over itself. Skin renews, bones remember. You are a record of passing days, and so is everything around you. The wood of your bed, once a tree, grown over years, rings of time tucked inside. The light bulb, a hum of electrons, moving fast enough to become glow. Even the moon, rising outside your window, pulled in an ancient rhythm it cannot escape. Time is not just a number, it's a story, a thread. You can't see it, but you can feel when it tightens, when it loosens, when it drifts. And though we build clocks and calendars to measure it, those are only translations. Tools to map something we don't fully understand. Because time doesn't always obey us. It flows faster when you're high above the earth, slower when you're near something massive. But you'll come to that soon. For now, you rest in your Body's time, slow, tender, steady. You let it wash over you, because, even in the dark, time moves. And with every beat of your heart, you are writing yourself forward. Notice how your eyelids feel heavier, how your thoughts stretch out like shadows at dusk. You are entering a place between time, a place where the past fades and the future isn't yet written. But before you drift away completely, a thought arrives, soft and slow, a question. What if someone closed their eyes and imagined chasing a beam of light? What would time feel like then? There is a kind of thinking that doesn't happen with open eyes. It happens when you lie still, when the room quiets down and the world outside recedes. In that space where nothing moves, yet everything stirs, a different kind of vision takes hold. And once, a boy named Albert leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes, and chased a beam of light. You follow him there now, back in time. Before the equations, before the Nobel Prize, before the world knew his name. He was 16, quiet, curious, not particularly fast at schoolwork, but good at wondering. And what he wondered then was, what would it be like to ride alongside a ray of light? You imagine it too. You are beside him in the dream, standing in a meadow of thought, with no gravity, no noise, just stillness. And from far away, a light beam begins to race. You stretch forward, lean in, and start to move with it, faster, faster, until you're gliding at the speed of light. But something's wrong. The wave of light beside you is no longer rippling. It has frozen. The electric and magnetic dance that makes light what it is, it has stopped. And that doesn't make sense, because light should always move, always ripple. But not here, not now, not when you move with it. Einstein noticed this paradox, and it stayed with him like a stone in the pocket of his mind. It whispered something about time, something about motion, something about space is not what we think it is. You lie back again, sinking into this idea, noticing how, when you walk, you don't think about the ground shifting beneath your feet. When you turn on a flashlight, you don't question how fast the beam moves. But Einstein did. And what he discovered, slowly, gently, was that light, no matter where you are or how fast you're going, always moves at the same speed, always a cosmic constant. And if that is true, then something else must give way. Something we thought was fixed. Isn't that something? Is time. You drift now into a new image. Imagine two people standing far apart. They each hold a clock, perfectly made, perfectly in sync. They shine light beams at one another to check the timing. But if one of them begins to move, even gently, something shifts. They disagree. One clock ticks slower. Time itself stretches, not because the clocks are faulty, but because time bends to keep light speed steady. That's the heart of relativity. Motion changes time. Speed slows it down. It's strange, isn't it? But you've felt it before, in other ways. On a train pulling out of a station, have you ever wondered who's really moving? Is it the train, or the world slipping? Past the window, Einstein saw that too, that motion is relative. There's no one true speed, no universal stillness. Everything moves in relation to something else, and time. It follows along. It adjusts quietly, like a river flowing around stones, so that the laws of nature, especially the speed of light, remain true for everyone, everywhere. You lie there thinking. You've never chased light before, but maybe your thoughts have. Maybe when you recall a memory so vividly it feels like now you're bending time a little. Maybe when you lose yourself in a story or a dream and an hour vanishes, you're feeling the pliability of your own clock. Einstein didn't stop at thought. He built his insights into equations. They are elegant, almost poetic, if you could read them. One says delta t equals t, square root 1, v squared per c squared. It looks like a puzzle, but it says something profound, that the faster you go, the slower time flows for you. That speed stretches the seconds apart. You return to your own body now, still calm. Your heart beats softly, like a pendulum. You are not moving fast. You are not near the speed of light. And yet, you understand, because even here, Einstein's ideas reach you. Your GPS relies on them. The timing of satellites, the corrections made every moment, all tuned to this. Bending of time, everywhere, quietly, relativity is at work. But it began not with technology, not with laboratories or rockets. It began with a boy closing his eyes, with wondering, with letting go of what everyone else assumed to be true. You think about that now, about how truth can live in stillness, how the deepest discoveries can come in silence, and you begin to sense something else, that if light speed remains constant, and time can stretch to accommodate it, then what happens at the speed of light? Does time stop altogether? Is there a place where time stands perfectly still? Your breath slows. Your mind hovers between question and calm. And in the distance, not here yet, but approaching, is another thought. What does the universe look like from the view of light itself? You close your eyes, not to sleep yet, but to slip into something lighter, something faster. You imagine yourself becoming weightless, a thought detached from your body, a whisper drifting toward the edge of what's possible. Now imagine this: you are no longer made of muscle or bone or breath. You are a photon, a single particle of light. No mass, no weighting, just pure motion. You launch forward, not slowly, not in stages, but instantly. The moment you are created, you are already at the universe's speed limit, almost 300,000 kilometers per second, faster than any spaceship, faster than any story, faster than any feeling. But here's the secret. As light, you do not feel fast. You do not feel time at all, out there, from the outside. A photon may take 8 minutes to travel from the sun to Earth, but from the photon's own point of view, there is no wait, no journey, no in-between. The moment it leaves is the moment. It arrives. You drift into that strange stillness now. Imagine being everywhere you're going all at once. No seconds passing, no clock ticking. Just the now endless and unchanging dot to light. The universe has no depth, no unfolding, only a frozen canvas of space already painted. But you are not truly light. You are still tethered to mass, to time, to memory, to motion that feels real. You can only visit this place for a moment, like a dream you barely remember. Yet in that visit, something becomes clear. You realize that time, the thing you live inside, is not universal. It is local, relative. It bends depending on how fast you move, how close you are to gravity. And for light, which has no mass, time simply does not pass. You lie very still, feel your body again, warm, grounded. You are not racing through space, but you are moving through time, 1 second per second. That's your speed. But you wonder, why does mass make a difference? Why do you experience time while light does not? The answer lies in the equation Einstein gave to the world. the one you've heard before. E equals mc, energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. It's beautiful in its simplicity, and it tells you this: mass and energy are two faces of the same coin. But light, pure energy, has no mass, and because of that, it travels at the ultimate speed and lives outside of time. You think of the stars. Each one sends light across billions of years through the dark and the dust to reach your eyes. And that light, that photon, never knew how long it traveled. It simply was, from star to eye, instantly. To you, it aged. To itself, it never changed. You feel the paradox now. The strangeness that something so familiar, light, lives by rules so different, and yet it defines your world. It carries warmth, vision, color. It brings you the past. Everything you see is already gone, but arriving only now. Light is memory in motion. Now imagine yourself back in the light beam, just for a breath, not traveling through time, but across it. No beginning, no end, just existence, like a page already written, always present. It feels peaceful there, still, not empty, but timeless. And that, too, is a kind of comfort. You return gently, back to your bed, to your breath, to the beat in your chest. You are not light, you are matter. You take time to move, to change, to grow. And that's beautiful in its own way, because while light sees everything at once, you get to feel the passage, the becoming, the unfolding. You get to notice a sunrise. You get to wait for someone you love. You get to grow older and learn and remember. Your life is made of seconds, but light lives outside the clock. It sees everything in a single, unblinking moment. And maybe you think the reason you can't move that fast, the reason mass holds you back, is so you have time to experience everything slowly, to savor it, to wonder, but what would happen if you weren't just beside light, but trying to catch it, trying to match its pace with your body, with a ship, with a clock ticking behind you? If you tried to chase light, not as a dream, but as a traveler, what would happen to your time? You feel the ripple of that question begin. It lingers in your breath, waiting to unfold. You imagine someone beside you, a mirror of your heartbeat, your laughter, your height when you were young. A twin, not just a sibling, but a near reflection. You know their habits, their voice, the way their eyes squint when they think too hard. You've spent your whole life in parallel, until now. You both stand on a platform beneath a pale morning sky. A rocket hums beside you. It is long and tall and filled with fuel and silence. Your twin smiles, nervous, maybe, but ready. They're going where few ever go. Far into space, fast, close to the speed of light. You squeeze their hand, one last breath together. Then the countdown begins. You stay behind. You watch the rocket lift, trembling, burning skyward. And when the silence returns, you are already a little bit older, not much, just a fraction of a second. But the clocks have already begun to disagree. This is not science fiction. This is the world we live in. The world that Einstein revealed, where speed bends time. As your twin flies faster, time bends harder. For them, the journey feels short, maybe months, maybe a year. But for you, back on Earth, walking, waiting, watching seasons change. More time passes, 5 years, 10, maybe more. You age, your body stretches, your hair changes, grays a little at the edge. You look up at the stars and wonder where your twin is now. But for them, the clock has ticked slowly. Inside the ship, time flows gently, like syrup. Their body barely ages. Their thoughts move like they always did. Because speed, true relentless speed, slows time's river. This is the twin paradox, not a contradiction, but a truth that defies expectation. It happens because of motion. Not motion alone, but motion at great speeds. Close to light's constant. And in special relativity, when someone moves that fast, their time, their heartbeat, their metabolism, their moments stretch apart. You lie back in your bed now, letting your mind trace the curves of this idea. The faster someone moves, the slower their time flows from your perspective. But from their view, nothing feels different. Their seconds feel normal. Their meals taste the same. Their dreams stretch just as long. But when they return, they are younger than you. You've lived more life. You've waited longer. You've aged ahead. You meet again at the base of another rocket. Your arms wrap around someone who left looking like you and returned looking like your younger self. It's not magic. It's not a trick. It's the natural unfolding of time. When it is bent by motion, you ask, how do we know this is real? Because we've tested it, with clocks flown on planes, with particles in laboratories, with astronauts on the International Space Station. Time flows differently for each, not by much. Not yet because we haven't moved fast enough, but the difference is real. Measured, predicted, proven. You wonder now, could someone go far enough, fast enough, to return to a future Earth? The answer is yes, in theory. A long journey near the speed of light would allow them to return and find centuries past. They would step out unchanged. While cities fell and rose, languages shifted, oceans warmed. They'd be a time traveler, not backwards, but forward, not by bending clocks, but by riding them differently. Your body here in bed tingles with the idea that time is not one thing, not a straight track, but a layered field, and your position. Your speed shapes how you move through it. You remember the rocket now. You remember waving as it left, and you remember wondering if time moves differently for my twin. Where, exactly, did that missing time go? It didn't vanish, it stretched, it flowed in a longer curve. Their path through space-time was different. From yours in physics, this is called a world line. Each life, each object, each particle has its own path through space and time. Your world line was longer. Theirs was shorter, tighter, curled through speed. And when you met again at the intersection of your stories, you brought with you the different lengths of your journeys. You look at your hands, they've aged, but you've filled the time. You've used the seconds that stretched before you and your twin. They arrive with fewer wrinkles, with fewer memories, but not less life, just a different shape of it. Time didn't cheat anyone. It just flowed according to nature's quiet rules. This, too, brings a kind of peace. That time is not something you chase or control, but something you move through, not always equally, but always with presence. You lie still, feel your chest rise and fall. You are here. Your world line curls through this moment. And though you are not on a rocket, your time is bending in subtler ways, by speed, by gravity, by your nearness to mass. The earth itself curves time beneath you, but that you'll discover soon. For now, you return to the image of your twin standing before you, unchanged. Eyes wide, surprised by how long you waited. You reach out again, hold their hand, and smile, and somewhere in the quiet space between you, a question begins to rise. What if gravity could do the same thing? What if it too could bend time? You are still, not floating through space, not speeding near the speed of light, just lying here, grounded, feet on earth, head on pillow. And yet, even now, time is bending around you. You might think of gravity as weight, a pull downward. The reason apples fall and rain returns to the sea, and you don't drift into the sky. But gravity is more than that. It is not just a force. It is a shape, a subtle warping of the world around mass. Close your eyes and imagine space, not as emptiness, but as a fabric, a smooth, silent sheet stretched across the universe. Now place something heavy on it, a planet, a star, a moon. Watch how the fabric curves, like cloth beneath a marble. That curve is gravity, and time flows along it. Wherever the fabric dips, time slows, not because clocks are broken, but because the very rhythm of the universe, the beat of time itself, changes near mass. You are lying in gravity right now. The earth beneath you is vast and old and full of weight, and its presence curves space-time gently, wrapping you in an invisible cradle. If you could float just a little higher, a few meters above your bed, time would move a tiny bit faster. If you climbed a mountain, the difference would grow. If you orbited far above the earth, the seconds would slip by even quicker. Not by much, not enough to feel, but enough to measure. Satellites prove it. Atomic clocks prove it. The GPS in your phone corrects for it, adjusting for the gentle tug of gravity, slowing time down here on Earth's surface. You don't feel it because you're used to it. You were born in gravity. Your body grew inside it. Your thoughts developed, with time curved all around them. But if you could step out of gravity even for a moment, you'd feel the difference. A second would stretch. Moments would lengthen. The heartbeat of the universe would rise slightly in pitch. This is the idea Einstein offered in his theory of general relativity, that mass doesn't just pull things in, it also bends the flow of time. Imagine placing a clock near a black hole. That clock would tick almost impossibly slowly, its hands barely moving, as if caught in honey. And far away, another clock would race ahead. Same build, same design, but moving faster. Just because of where it sits, you begin to realize that time is not universal. It is shaped by location. It flows differently depending on how deep you are in gravity's well and Earth. Though modest in size compared to stars and giants, curves time too, enough that the top of a skyscraper ages faster than its base. Enough that an astronaut grows older slightly more quickly than you, floating above the planet's curve. You lie still and feel it, not as a force, but as a soft tilt, like your body leaning against time's gentle slope. Your chest rises and falls. Gravity holds your breath close. It presses you into now. You wonder, is gravity always slowing time? Yes, always. The deeper the gravity, the slower the seconds. But why? Think of it this way. Imagine a ball rolling across a flat floor. It glides easily. Now picture it moving uphill. It slows, strained by the incline. That's what time does near gravity. It climbs a kind of hill, not of space, but of space-time. The deeper the gravity, the steeper the slope, and the slower the climb. Now, picture your body again, the atoms that form you. Each one rests on this curved surface. Each one held by gravity's hand. And because of that, because of where you are, your time is slightly slower than it would be far away. You may think, so what? But it matters, because every part of physics, every law, every force runs on time's clock. Change the clock, and you change everything that follows. Even the light escaping Earth bends slightly. It stretches, loses energy. Not because it slows down, light always moves at the same speed, but because climbing out of gravity takes effort. And in that effort, its frequency shifts. A soft redshift, as if it's sighing. You imagine a photon now, rising from Earth into space. It climbs upward, slowly, not in speed, but in energy. Its wavelength lengthens. Its color fades from blue to red, not visible to the eye, but real. And this, too, tells the story of gravity's tug on time. You think about the black holes, places where gravity becomes almost infinite, where light cannot escape, where time itself seems to stop, but that's still ahead of you, right now. You remain here, not near a black hole, not in orbit, but wrapped in Earth's quiet cradle, and you begin to understand you are not just in gravity, you are of gravity. Your weight is a kind of communication between you and the Earth, between mass and space-time, between moment and motion, and even your breath curves space. Yes, your breath, because you have mass, because you exist, because even the smallest thing, a hair, a pebble, a single heartbeat, contributes to the bending. You are part of time's shape, not just riding it, but helping form it. This idea settles over you like a soft blanket, that you are not separate from the laws of the cosmos. You are those laws expressed in form. Your body, so familiar, so warm, is a participant in the bending of time. You are a clock, you are a curve, you are a ripple in the field. And you think again of that mountain, how standing atop it would make you age faster by a few billionths of a second per year. Such a tiny thing, but measurable, real. You smile, because even in stillness, you are moving. Even in gravity's arms, time flows, not the same for all, but always forward. And then the question begins to form. If gravity curves time here, what happens where gravity becomes extreme? Where the curve deepens to a cliff? What happens to time in the shadow of giants? Now you float, not in a bed, not on the earth, but in space, the wide, dark sea of it. There is no up or down here, only direction, only distance. In front of you looms a giant, not a star, not a moon, not even a planet, but something heavier. Stranger, a black hole. You've heard of them before, the monsters of the cosmos, born when stars collapse, dense beyond imagination. Not because they are filled with something, but because all their mass has been pressed inward, into a single, infinite point, a singularity, and around that singularity lies the event horizon, a boundary, not of material, but of fate. Once crossed, nothing escapes, not sound, not light, not even time as you know it. You drift closer, not dangerously, just near enough to feel the curve, because here, space itself is no longer flat. It dips, it bends like a whirlpool, and time, that quiet river you followed since birth, begins to change. It slows, it stretches. You glance at your watch, ticking, still ticking, but each second seems to pull longer than the last, like syrup dripping from a spoon, like shadows. At the end of day, you are not imagining it. To someone far away, someone watching from a distance, your time now moves unbearably slow. They would see you drifting, your body frozen mid-motion, as if caught inside a glass of thickened time. They could live out entire lives, decades, generations, while for you only minutes pass. This is not a thought experiment. This is real time. Slows in gravity. And here, in the deepest well of all, time barely flows at all. You drift nearer, not too close, not yet. Beyond a certain point, escape becomes impossible. That's the event horizon. A place where time and space switch roles. Inside, moving forward in time is like falling downward. Inevitable, you cannot not fall. Just as you cannot not move forward in time, but outside, just shy of the edge, you are safe if not unchanged. Your seconds are wide. Your breath feels stretched. You're still thinking, still being. But the rest of the universe is racing ahead without you. This is the paradox of black holes. To you, nothing feels strange, but to others, you seem paused. Your voice slows, your heartbeat becomes silence. You become almost timeless, and yet, you are more in time than ever, because you are feeling it change, not in theory, but inside your bones. You think back to Earth, to your twin, your clocks, your mountain. Their gravity curved time gently. Here, it folds it nearly in half. And near the horizon, something else happens. Light bends. Photons curl like birds caught in a storm. You see stars where there should be none. Their lights pooled around the hole, looping back to your eyes in impossible angles. This is called gravitational lensing, not a trick, just nature playing. With space, even light obeys gravity's shape. Even photons feel the pull, not because they slow down, but because they are steered. Time and space are one, remember. So when space bends, time follows. And when time bends, space ripples too. You float in both. You are both. Your mass bends space-time. Space-time bends you. And now, in the shadow of this cosmic giant, you feel more like a whisper than a body. You are small, but not meaningless, because even your presence disturbs the fabric. Even your thought sends ripples, soft and wide. You wonder what would happen if you did cross the horizon. Would you be crushed? Would you vanish? The truth is, physics still argues. There are rules we can write down, and mysteries we cannot. Some say you'd be pulled apart, spaghettified, stretched into threads by tidal forces. Others say you might pass through peacefully, your last moment extended into an eternity of stillness. But all agree on this. The closer you get, the slower your time becomes from the outside. And once you cross the line, there is no returning but here. Just outside the edge, you are free to wander, to float, to feel your clock ticks. Your eyes blink. You reach your hand out toward the darkness, not in fear, but in awe, because this is time's deepest well. A place where the seconds are no longer steady, where the river of moments pools and eddies and curls in on itself. You remember a thought from earlier about being made of time, of being a clock, a curve, a ripple. Now, you see that idea stretched to its limits. Even black holes, mysterious, invisible, are not outside physics. They are where physics goes quiet, but not where it ends. And scientists are still listening. They've seen stars orbiting invisible centers. They've heard gravitational waves from two giants merging, a brief, deep chime in the universe's great bell. Those waves ripple through space-time itself. You feel them long after they've passed, like echoes in a still lake. And from that, we've learned more about mass, about motion, about time. You begin to return, not backward, but upward, out of the deep well, back toward familiar space. You feel the climb. Time accelerates. Your clock ticks more quickly. Your thoughts gather pace, the syrup thins, the air returns. You are not the same, because you've seen where time nearly stops, where the universe folds in on itself, where the seconds become silence, and you wonder if time can slow that much. Can we measure it? Can we track it? Do we have clocks fine enough? Yes, we do. Atomic clocks, whispers of precision. They're waiting for you in the next thought, the next breath. They are already ticking. You open your eyes, but the black hole is gone. Its gravity, its silence, the syrup's slow seconds, all behind you now. You are back above Earth, floating in the space between ground and stars. It's quiet here too, but different. Less heavy, the seconds feel sharper. The silence hums with precision. You drift near a satellite. It doesn't shout. It doesn't glow. It doesn't wave flags or blink lights. But it holds something small, something that keeps the world running. An atomic clock. It doesn't tick like a wristwatch. No gears, no hands. It measures time by the trembling of atoms, tiny, invisible heartbeats that never change their rhythm. You peer closer. Inside is a cloud of cesium or rubidium atoms, each one vibrating with perfect consistency. Billions of times per second, the atoms shift their energy, a flicker, a flutter, and that flicker becomes a count. That count becomes a second. That second becomes time. You never feel it, but it feels you. The phone in your hand, the plane in the sky, the signal in your map GPS depends on these clocks, dozens of them, orbiting the planet, sending tiny timed pulses. Your phone listens, measures how long each signal takes to arrive, and with that, it knows exactly where you are, on a sidewalk, in a forest, in a city street. Not because of space, but because of time. But here's the strange part. If the satellites kept time, like we do on Earth, the whole system would fall apart. Why? Because up here, in orbit, time flows faster. Not much, just microseconds per day, but enough to matter. Enough to lose your location by miles, if left uncorrected. It's gravity again, you. Remember, the deeper the gravity, the slower the time. Satellites orbit high, where Earth's pull is weaker, so their time moves a little quicker than yours. Einstein predicted this. General relativity and special relativity, too, because the satellites are moving and motion slows time slightly. Both effects, gravity speeding things up, motion slowing things down, must be balanced. Engineers do the math. They program the clocks accordingly. A satellite's second is adjusted, curved just enough so that your seconds and its seconds speak the same language. You feel a sense of awe now that something so vast, so invisible, so delicately curved, can still work so precisely. A clock in the sky, an atom trembling in silence, allows you to find your way home. You drift now through layers of atmosphere, imagining the difference in time between mountaintops and valleys, between astronauts and farmers, between clocks ticking in different heights. Atomic clocks measure these differences. They are so precise, they can tell when you lift them just a few centimeters. Yes, raise one clock a shelf above another, and it ticks faster. Not metaphor, not imagination, reality. Time changes by altitude, not just in black holes, but in staircases. You rest in that idea. Time is not a background. It is not a fixed grid. It moves with the world. It bends with your breath. Atomic clocks remind us. They are not just tools. They are whispers, tiny voices reminding us that even the most ordinary second is alive with precision. You imagine one now, in a lab, suspended on vibration-free mounts, cooled to near absolute zero, surrounded by silence. The atoms glow softly, flickering in laser light, each flicker counted, each count building a second, and that second reaches you in your pocket, in your city, in your sleep. We've built our world on this whisper: electric grids, telecommunications, financial systems, scientific experiments all require exact timing, a shared rhythm, or else everything falls apart. You lie back and imagine a symphony. Dozens of instruments playing violins, flutes, drums, harps, each in a different room, yet all staying in perfect time. That's our modern world. The atomic clocks are the conductors, and space, with its quiet curves, is the concert hall. You think again of speed, of relativity, of motion. Even in planes, atomic clocks drift, move quickly, and time slips behind. This is not just theory. In 1971, scientists flew atomic clocks on jets and compared them to clocks on the ground. They found differences, tiny but real. Time had changed, and now we no longer doubt it. Relativity is not a thought experiment. It is something we build around. We depend on it, and we live in it. You smile at that, because what once felt like paradox is now part of the ordinary. Satellites, lasers, atoms, all tuned to the rhythms Einstein once imagined with his eyes closed. You reach out, touch the edge of the satellite, then drift downward, back toward Earth. Each meter you fall, your time slows, ever so slightly, and yet, you don't feel it. You don't age faster or slower by much, but the clocks feel it, and the clocks do not lie. You begin to see time differently now, not as a steady stream, but as a living field, responsive, curved, rippling, a mountain's peak is younger than the valley below. The basement runs slightly slower than the roof. It sounds strange, but the universe isn't built for what's easy to believe. It's built for what's true, and the clocks, those quiet, patient keepers, keep whispering it. Each tick is a message. Here you are, this is your now. And it's slightly different from everyone else's, because in truth, there is no global now, no shared instant. Each person, each atom, carries their own time. The closer we look, the more the differences grow. You feel that, not as confusion, but as wonder, because if time can shift by so little, then the universe must be incredibly careful. Every particle, every pulse, every beat of light, and still, somehow, it works. The clocks align. The satellites sing. The maps guide you, not through space, through time. You open your eyes again, back in your room, back in your body, the ceiling above you, the bed below, but between them, a difference, however small, a ripple in time. And now you wonder if even tiny shifts in altitude can change the pace of time. What does that mean for people who live in slower places? What if your whole life was spent in a valley of time? Would your seconds be different from someone else's? Would your story be told in slower breath? You live here, on Earth, at a specific height, in a particular place, maybe in a valley, maybe by the sea. You walk through your days never feeling time slip, but it does, not in great surges or sudden jolts, but softly, so softly you would never notice, unless someone told you. or you looked closely at a clock too precise for the human eye. If you live low, at the base of a hill, near the ocean floor, your seconds pass just a bit more slowly than those of someone high above. If you lived your whole life in a valley, you would age ever so slightly less than someone who lived on a mountain ridge under the same sky. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry pretending to be physics. This is the world you inhabit. This is what general relativity quietly insists upon. Time slows down the closer you are to gravity's center, and gravity is strongest the nearer you are to the mass that creates it, like the center of the earth. You lie in your bed now, and you wonder, how much slower? The answer is minuscule. Tiny fractions of a second over a lifetime, not enough to remember, not enough to feel, but it's there, proven by clocks that do not lie, clocks that know when they are in lower air, when gravity's pull grows just slightly, stronger, tugging on the rhythm of the world. You breathe in, you breathe out. You begin to think about time not as universal, but as personal. Your time is not the time. It is a version of it, bent and shaped by where you live, by how high you sleep, by how fast the earth spins beneath your feet. You picture someone else, another version of you, born on a mountaintop. You grow together, talk together, grow old together, and in the final measurement, their life is a little longer, not because they were stronger or healthier, but because they lived just a few meters higher. This is the story of time's gentle imbalance. It is not cruel, it is not sharp, it is simply true, and it leads you to a softer question. What does it mean to live in slower time? Maybe it means you're more grounded, closer to the earth's heart, more woven into its center. Maybe your dreams hold just a little longer. Maybe your nights last a breath more than someone else's. It's easy to imagine that time is a shared river, that we all float through it at the same speed, no matter our journey. But you now know that's not true. The river bends. It flows faster at the surface, slower in the depths. And where you are in that current shapes what you feel, what you carry, what you become. Time is not impartial. It is shaped by place, and every place you've ever lived, every floor you've stood on, has shifted your seconds in its own quiet way. You begin to think of homes, of all the people you've known, some in cities, some in highlands, some in deserts, low and wide. You think of their time and how it stretched just slightly more or less than yours, not enough to divide, but enough to entreat. You think of children growing up on islands, of elders living in mountain huts, of people who age just a little faster because the earth is curved beneath them. And you wonder, is time less fair than you thought? But then you feel your breath again, and you remember this difference is not about fairness, it's about nature, about laws older than breath, older than thought. You are not cheated, you are not spared, you are simply here, where you are, this altitude, this curve of earth beneath you. It is part of your story, part of your rhythm, and there's something beautiful in that every place has its own tempo, that geography isn't just hills and rivers, but time itself folded differently. Your feet touch the floor, and beneath them the earth turns, and in that turning, it spins you through space, tilts you toward and away from the sun, drags time along its surface in delicate gradients. You've been moving all along, east to west, north to south, higher, lower, and with each motion your clock adjusts, but it never tells you because it doesn't need to. You are not late, you are not early, You are exactly where your time wants you to be. You lie back and imagine a clock made not of metal, but of light, a beam bouncing between mirrors. In a valley, that beam takes a slightly longer path. Not in space, but in time. That's how atomic clocks know where they are. That's how scientists found this truth. Not in a dream, but in the lab, in towers, on plains. In mountains, time slows in the valley. Time speeds on the peak. You whisper this idea to yourself. Feel it settle under your ribs. You've always moved through time as if it were air smooth, constant, invisible. But now you know the air is not still. It rises, it falls, and time does too. You walk through a world that tilts your time, invisible hills and valleys of seconds. You think again of cities, skyscrapers that stretch higher into faster time. Elevators lifting clocks into slightly longer futures. No one notices, but the math does. The universe does. You drift into the thought of someone born underground, deep in a mine, a life lived in slower time. They climb to the surface, step into the sun, and gain a breath of future they didn't know they'd lost. It's not enough to change fate, but enough to prove that time is alive. It flexes, it listens to gravity, and it listens to you, your weight, your place, your presence. You live in slower time or faster time, depending on where you are, not just who you are. And so, you wonder, if time bends for altitude, does it bend for motion too? You've felt the earth spin beneath you. But what if you moved fast, really fast, with your body, your breath, your clock? Would your time slow even more? What happens to time when you start to chase the stars? You lie beneath the stars now, not in a bed, not on a ship, not floating near gravity wells, just lying on your back, eyes open, sky above. You are still, and yet the universe is moving, not just spinning, not just glowing or exploding or dancing, but stretching. This chapter begins not with clocks on Earth, but with the universe itself, a single vast clock tower, expanding in every direction. You think of galaxies like lanterns, drifting away from each other on a cosmic sea. They're not flying through space. Space itself is growing between them. The farther away something is, the faster it recedes, not because it moves, but because the fabric of space is pulling outward like dough rising, carrying raisins apart, and in this expansion, time stretches. To dot not the time on your wrist, but the time carried by light. You look up now, you see a star. Its light took hundreds, maybe thousands of years to reach your eyes, and in that journey it aged, not just in distance, but in color. That starlight, born blue, arrives red, stretched by space, pulled longer, softened like a voice across a canyon. This is redshift, the language of light when the universe is expanding, and with it comes the strange truth. You do not see stars as they are, you see them as they were. Light is slow compared to distance. Even moving at the fastest speed allowed, it is still too slow for this grand scale. That star you see tonight, it might not even exist anymore. Its light began long ago, and only now has it reached you. This makes the sky a kind of time machine, not fiction, not fantasy, but reality. The farther you look, the farther back you go. You think again of the photons you met earlier, the ones that do not age, that move instantly from their own perspective, and now you understand what they bring to you. History, the frozen frames of cosmic film, developing in your eyes only now. Some galaxies, you see, are as they were when dinosaurs walked the earth. Some are older than Earth itself, and even deeper, with telescopes like Hubble or now James Webb. We can see light from the universe's early years, infant galaxies, dust still cooling, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself, what we call the cosmic microwave. Background: this light has traveled for over 13 billion years. It hums around you even now, a low, quiet murmur in the microwave spectrum, the leftover warmth of creation. You can't see it with your eyes, but it's there, in your room, in the trees, in your skin. The universe is full of this old light, old time, old memory, and so you begin to feel small, but not insignificant, because to witness such ancient light is to become part of the story. You are a viewer, yes, but also a participant. You reflect on this. The night sky is not a picture, it's a message, written in delay. Each star a telegram from the past. Even the sun, so close, so vital, is seen 8 minutes late. If the sun vanished right now, you wouldn't know until your clock ticked 8 full minutes more. Because even in light's perfection, distance costs time, and you begin to feel that time is stitched into distance. They are not separate threads. They are warp and weft of the same fabric. Einstein called this space-time. And now, lying here, you feel it breathing. You wonder, if the universe is expanding, is time expanding too? In some ways, yes. Time since the Big Bang isn't just ticking forward, it's stretching. As space grows, the rhythm of cosmic time changes. Seconds once filled with boiling plasma are now slow, cold, empty. The early universe was hot, fast, dense. Now it is cool, sparse, slow. It is not just older, it is changing how it ages. You imagine the universe as a child, then an adolescent, then aging slowly, deliberately. It ages asymmetrically, not like a clock, but like a breath in the beginning. It breathed quickly, short, sharp, fast seconds. Now the breath has lengthened. It exhales over billions of years, and we, small observers on a tiny planet, are catching our portion of that breath, living inside one cosmic exhale. You think of Earth's place in this, orbiting a modest star, on the edge of a modest galaxy, in a sky of hundreds of billions of others, and yet you are connected to it all. Through light, through gravity, through time. You remember the atomic clocks, whispering seconds with infinite precision. Now imagine the universe holding a similar clock, one that ticks, not with atoms, but with galaxies moving apart, and each tick is a redshifted light wave arriving at your telescope, telling you time is not just local, it is universal, but it does not flow evenly. You might ask, is there a center to this expansion? And the answer, strange and elegant, is no. Everywhere expands away from everywhere else. There is no edge, no outside. The universe is not growing into something, it is growing as something. And you are inside it, on a planet, in a room, feeling your own small version of time, which is different from someone else's, which is different from a clock on a satellite, which is different from the rhythm of stars. Yet all are real. All are part of the great time field, the universal clock tower whose bells ring in wavelengths of ancient light. You think again of light from long ago, how it softens with time, how it redshifts, how it carries not just distance, but delay. You are always looking into the past, and maybe that's why the stars seem so calm. They are done rushing. They've already arrived. You are the one in motion, still moving, still becoming, still aging forward while watching backward. And in this space between what was and what is, you find something tender. You find stillness, not the kind that lacks motion, but the kind that accepts it. You lie back and breathe. The photons from galaxies older than your sun touch your eye, not to blind, but to bless. They carry a whisper from when the universe was young. And now you hold that whisper quietly, with care. Then, slowly, a thought begins to rise. If light from the edge of time still reaches us now, what happens when our light leaves us? How far will it travel? What future eyes might catch it? And what story will it tell? You return, not to a spaceship, not to a satellite, not to a black hole or the edge of the expanding sky. You return to your bed, your breath, your body. The covers wrap around you like folded space. The room is dark, and the clock on the wall glows softly, but you do not need it anymore. You are no longer measuring seconds. You are feeling them slip. Sleep approaches. It does not announce itself with trumpets or bells. It arrives quietly in the soft blinking of eyes, in the loosening of thoughts, in the fading shape of the world, and with it, something stranger begins. Time bends again, not because of motion, not because of gravity, but because of dreams. You drift into them now, and here, time stops following rules. You know this place. You've been here before. A minute in the real world stretches into a story. An hour of dream collapses into a blink. You may visit your childhood in an instant, speak with people long gone, run through cities you've never seen. None of it bound to clocks, none of it scheduled. Just experience, unfolding. You are floating. Now, not through galaxies, but through memory, through emotion, through imagination. And still time is present, not measured, but felt. You are its author here, its architect. You decide how long a moment lasts. You build eternity into a gesture. You shrink years into a single sigh. This is the mystery of time in the mind. Even when all other forces are removed, when gravity is quiet, when motion is still, time continues to stretch and ripple according to something softer. You think back now to the journey you've taken, from your own breath to the speed of light, to the bending of seconds near stars, to the slow ticking of satellites, to the expansion of the cosmos itself. Everywhere you looked, time changed. Not just how fast it moved, but how it felt. You saw how time could slow beside a black hole, how it could ripple in a valley, how it could stretch between galaxies, and how it could whisper inside an atom. And now you feel how it disappears. In sleep, you begin to ask a final question. What is time, really? Is it a force, a dimension, a measure of change? Or is it something closer to a rhythm, a pulse, a pattern, a sequence of moments stitched together by awareness? Einstein once called it a stubborn illusion. But illusions can still matter. They can still hold meaning. You roll onto your side, press your palm against your chest. The heartbeat is slower now, but steady. You remember your body is a clock. Every breath, every blink, every cell dividing quietly beneath your skin. A measure of time's passage. Even if the world stopped moving, you would carry time inside you. But dreams are different. They are not bound by this rhythm. They float in a dream. You might fly. You might sink to the ocean floor. You might live a lifetime in a moment and wake with the memory fading like mist. And you ask again, is that still time? If you lived an Entire dream life, in 10 minutes of sleep, did it count? You smile, because now you know. There is no real time. There is only the time you feel, the time you live, the time you carry. The physicists can define time with math. They can describe its curvature, its dilation, its place in equations that govern stars and atoms. But none of them can define what it feels like to wait, to remember, to love. Those are human times, emotional seconds, stretching, contracting, outside the lab, inside your chest. And so, as you fall further into rest, you carry all the truths with you. That time moves slower in valleys. That motion bends it. That light never feels it pass. That black holes almost stop it. That atoms measure it precisely. That space itself stretches it thin. And that you, small, breathing, curious, you are allowed to live inside all these truths at once. You are a creature of warped time. You are never quite in sync with the stars, never perfectly aligned with anyone else's moment. And yet, you connect. Because time is not just a clock. It's a bridge. You remember how clocks in towers once rang for villages, how they kept people in step, chiming into the fog. And now, atomic clocks do the same with lasers, with pulses, with silent synchrony, and yet, every person walks slightly out of step. And that's okay, because being in step isn't the goal. The goal is to move, to feel, to wonder. You begin to think of all the time that has passed since you were born, the seconds you felt, the ones you missed, the ones that slipped through. Your fingers, the ones that stayed longer than they should have. Each one had its own shape, its own softness or weight, and all of them are gone now, except the one you are in. This one, this soft second where you are floating toward sleep, thinking about things larger than yourself. You have carried yourself through so much, through hours that ran too fast, through nights that dragged, through dreams that felt like memories, through memories that felt like dreams. And now you are arriving at the edge of thought, where the words thin, where the math quiets, where the definitions no longer matter. You have traveled through time, not by ship, but by mind. And now you are free to let it all go, because in this moment there is no gravity, no speed, no measure. There is only the softness of your body, the hush in your room, the universe breathing outside your window, and you between seconds. You are allowed to lose track. You are allowed to stop counting. You are allowed to drift, because here, where time slips away, you are safe, you are enough, you are part of a rhythm that began before you were born and will continue after you are gone. A rhythm you do not need to understand to be held by dot and so. You close your eyes, you let the questions go, you let the theories float. You let time, at last, become nothing at all. Just breath, just warmth, just this.